Live here and hello everybody. Hello and welcome.
Hello.
Okay, so we are live streaming on Facebook right now, and we are excited to be here. Welcome to the 10K Project. My name is Cherie. I am here with Tawana. We want to come in every Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in order to talk about what we're doing. We have 5 people who are part of the foundation of this group. We are the officers and the founders of this great movement, because it's more than just a company or an organization. It really is a movement. You'll see them, the other 3, pop in and out as well. So what I want to do tonight is just come say hello to everybody who is in our Facebook group. We're doing a soft launch during the month of April, meaning that we want to just connect with our family and friends and those that are close to us and let them know what we're doing, or let you know what we're doing, and get some feedback from you with regards to this Black 10K project. So Tawana, first of all, welcome tonight.
Thank you.
All righty then. So here's what we're gonna do. This is the plan. I believe that I need to, first of all, let me see if I can do gallery view there. That may be better. And everybody, we are really playing around with this. So, oh, it has me there again. Okay, so I'm going to try to find us on Facebook, just so if people have questions, you're able to drop it into the Facebook group. And as we get better and better every week, you know, things will get better, and we will be able to see your information.
And I'm in it too, Cherie, so I can help read the questions.
Okay, perfect. I see it now. So hey Tamara, good evening. How's everybody doing? Good evening, Dr. Keisha. Good evening to Erlene. Pleasure to see all of you here. Okay, so let's do this. What I'd like to do, Tawana, if you don't mind, is I kind of like to give people a basis for what we're doing. And I have a little quick presentation. It's only 4 slides. So, and the first one is just our cover page here. And then you and I can talk, because, you know, you'll have different information to provide people with regards to what we're doing. So let me open this up here. And want to say, let's see how I do the screen. Here we go. Okay, so welcome to the 10K Project. We are asking all of us to have a seat at the table, finally. What does that mean? So in America, Black businesses are less likely to get funding than other groups. And you may say, well, okay, what does that have to do with me? Well, there are a couple of reasons why this is important. Number one is, if you are an entrepreneur, then you are less likely to get funding, which means that you have less of an ability to do big things in business. If you're an investor and you are not accredited, for example, and what an accredited investor is it's somebody that has a net worth of $1 million outside of their primary residence, or somebody who makes more than $200,000 a year as a single person, or $300,000 a year as a married couple. And that's most Black people. We just don't have it like that. And there's nothing wrong with that. But because most of us are not accredited investors, a lot of times we are not able to participate in a lot of private companies' growth. So our businesses are left to go to the bank, or they are left to go to angel investors or venture capitalists. And we know that those three entities are less likely to fund us. Well, in 2012, the Jobs Act was signed, and a part of the Jobs Act included something called equity crowdfunding, which means that we as unaccredited investors, meaning we as just regular people, have an opportunity to invest in private businesses, and we have an opportunity to make money from our investments in these private businesses. Well, you would think that venture capitalists and angel investors would say, oh, okay, well, now we want to start funding more Black businesses. And that's not happening. Their loss is our opportunity, because the average private entity, private equity firm, makes about 30% on their money. Now, can we guarantee that you're going to make 30% on your money? No, we cannot. However, with the 10K project, the reason we call it the 10K project is because if 10,000 people get together and we each put $100 into a company, that's $1 million. We can start funding our own companies. And the average Black business with 250,000, $500,000, $1 million, we are very, very good, scrappy people with regards to being able to take a little bit and make a lot. I know my grandmother, my great-grandmother, you know, we were from Louisiana, from a little town in Louisiana, and they did so much with so little, and they ingrained that in me and in Tawana and in most of us that are watching something like this. So we can be the solution, and we can reap the profits and the benefits from being investors in these companies. So we are looking, over the month of April, we are looking to have 100 people respond to our survey. So many of you have received our survey. If you have not, this is the link. It's bit.ly/Black 10K project, bit.ly/Black 10K project. We have about half of our surveys already completed. We're looking for another 50 people at least to complete the survey. In the survey, we're asking all sorts of questions with regards to what you would want in the platform. If you are an entrepreneur, are you looking to raise capital? How can we make a wow experience and a wow environment for you? If you're an investor, we're asking you what kind of information and education will you need in order to be successful? So completing this survey is step one in terms of what we need. And we are asking if you know somebody who should be completing the survey because they are an entrepreneur that's looking to raise money, or because they are an investor, they love crowdfunding, or they invest in a lot of different stocks and cryptocurrency and real estate. We would love to hear from them as well. The second thing we're going to ask you to help us with is, if you are not a part of our Facebook and you're seeing this, to please join our Facebook group. The Facebook group is Black 10K Project. We do ask that you complete the survey so that we can let you into the Facebook group, but there's going to be a lot of information that's shared within the Facebook group with regards to how investors can become savvy investors when it comes to investing in private companies. And the third thing is, we're asking you to tell a friend. If one of us tells the next person who tells the next person, we can grow this fairly quickly with limited to no advertising. The reason we're asking you to tell a friend is because we want people who um, are financially conscious. It doesn't mean that you have a lot of money or anything like that, but you are somebody who is looking at your finances, you care about your business, you care about financial literacy, um, you care about the community overall. And we want to build a community of 10,000 people who think the same way. And we're all moving towards the same goal. Um, so bringing a friend on that you think would be open to something like this, that is one of the greatest ways that you can help us. And so those are the three things. Those are the three asks that we have right now. Over the next few weeks, we are going to start doing some investor education training. And we have a lot more planned, but the first step is to get our surveys completed. So again, Tamara, Erlene is saying good evening to all. Dr. Keisha, welcome. So yes, so Tawana, why don't you hop in here?
So I'm going to ask the people for a fourth thing. I want them to hit the share button. That's what I want them to do, and share this video so that not just telling your friends, but letting them see this as a starting point so that they can understand exactly what this project is about. The other thing I wanted to share was that, we have an opportunity here to change lives, not only our own lives, but the lives of other community members. And so when I think about, Sheree talked about her grandmother, when I think about my childhood, I think about all of the birthday presents I used to get. And I had an aunt that would always give a savings bond. And I had a bunch of savings bonds for a long time. I eventually cashed them in, but I had a bunch of them. And just think, what if that would have been equity in a company, right? As a young Black girl, to have grown up and already had ownership in something. And then what if that was a Black company, the message that would have sent to me about the possibilities? And not that the savings bonds were bad, right? They were wonderful gifts and they appreciated nicely, but it wasn't generational wealth, right? It wasn't, I don't have them anymore, right? I can't tell you what I bought with them once I cashed them in. But what we're trying to do here is really establish a future for our families that we don't often get the opportunity to do because we don't hear about investment opportunities early enough. And as entrepreneurs, we don't always have the resources to make our wonderful, brilliant, ingenious ideas come to life. So we're just trying to change that.
Yeah, so, when you mentioned the savings bonds and imagine if it was equity, I think about the fact that whiskey was invented by a Black man. And imagine if we had gotten our resources together, and I know things were different back then, so I definitely get it. But we had gotten our resources together and we had funded that, where would we be? Also, the potato chip was invented by a Black man. I heard somebody say, imagine if we own Lay's, or or any of these other companies, where we would be. Well, who says we can't start today? And we do know that there has been progress. So I don't want to pretend like there has not been progress. We see the Harlem Capital Fund. We see the Tulsa Real Estate Fund and the Black Angel Tech Fund. So I don't want to discredit any of those organizations. However, if you look at who invests in those funds, they're usually people who are accredited investors, or they have a certain amount of money to put in, or in the case of Tulsa Real Estate, once Jay Morrison has collected those funds, he gets to decide, he and his board gets to decide what they invest in. So one of the questions we always get is, what's the difference between what we're doing and the Tulsa Real Estate Fund? So let me answer that right now. We explain what the Tulsa Real Estate Fund is doing. With ours, every week, we're going to have an Entrepreneur of the Week come and do a Shark Tank style pitch. And they're going to pitch their business to the entire community. And you will be able to review their information, ask them questions, and each week you decide if you want to put your $100 on that company. Now, is $100 all you can, invest? No. There is an IRS calculation that says the total amount that you can invest in equity crowdfunding on an annual basis amongst all investments. So there may be an investment that week that you like so much that you want to put more money on it. Great. However, you are going to have a minimum of $100. So now the power is more so in your hand versus Tulsa Real Estate, where you can say, you know what, I like that company. I got my 100 on that one. Or that one doesn't fit into my portfolio. That one doesn't exactly fit into something that I would invest in. I'm going to pass. And guess what? Both responses are just fine. Our goal is to bring a variety of companies. They will be innovative in some sort of way. However, innovative does not just mean technology. Innovative can be in hair care, health, beauty, men's, I don't know what men care about, but whatever you guys, whatever the guys care about. We do have a gentleman who is part of our officer committee, or officer group. So he'll tell me what the men care about. 3-on-3 basketball league or whatever it is the guys care about. I'm sorry?
I said Eric will come in and tell us what the men want.
Eric is going to come in and tell us. Yes, exactly. So whatever the guys care about, there'll be some female entrepreneurs, some male entrepreneurs. However, we are featuring Black entrepreneurs. So this is for us, this is by us, and this is an opportunity for us.
Kamari said men care about everything.
I saw men care about everything. Yes, so perfect.
I love that.
But what I know is if and when we have a strong community of investors, and investors is $100, $150, $250, however much you choose to invest, the best of the best of the best companies are going to come to pitch to us, and you get a seat at the table. You get an opportunity to to hear pitches that you would normally not get to hear unless you were in a specific room. So I want to put this screen share back up, Tawana, just to ask people, because we have more people coming in. Thank you so much for sharing. Do watch parties, anything like that. We're going to ask for your help. We're going to ask you to complete our survey if you have not done so. We're looking for at least 100 surveys completed over the next couple of weeks. We have half done, so we're looking for another 50. That's at bit.ly/Black 10K project. We're also asking you to join our Facebook group. That is Black 10K Project is the Facebook group. And tell at least one friend that you think would be receptive to our message. That's our ask. So go ahead, Tawana.
I was just going to say also, you're talking about the investor. I just want to talk about the responsibility that we have to the investor and the commitment that we've made, in that, what we're going to offer to the entrepreneurs is not just a space where they can pitch their deal to you or their business to you. It's actually a space where they can help grow as well. So what we're going to have is a network of professionals where that entrepreneur can seek the guidance they're needing from a business development standpoint and from a marketing standpoint. If they need accounting assistance, a legal assistance, there'll be a network of professionals that will be able to help them grow and develop so that they can scale successfully. Because as investors, we only want to, present businesses that have the ability to make money, right? That's the goal, is that we're going to present these businesses so that those of us who are going to be the investors will be able to have equity in a profitable organization. And so being able to have these resources as part of the model is going to be beneficial to them. Now, if they already have their own legal teams and marketing teams, that's fine. The whole point is to have availability, not to dictate who they use and how they utilize it. But we want to pay special attention to those businesses, because it's up to us not also to help them financially, but to help them grow healthy, in a very healthy way.
Absolutely. And I do want to say that if you provide those types of services, this is definitely where you want to be, because we are a community. I was watching Earn Your Leisure in their podcast, and they had a gentleman talking about the business of private equity and venture capitalism. One of the things he said, which is absolutely true, and we have it in our ebook as well, which we will be presenting to everybody, is that out of 10 companies, the average angel investor knows that 6 will fail, 3 will do moderately well, and 1 will be that unicorn, knock it out the park. He said something that I agree with, and that's very interesting. I hadn't heard anyone say it like this before. He said, Black portfolios can't afford to be like that. We need to have, it flipped, where 6 knock it out the park, 3 do moderately well, and 1 fail. Well, even before I had heard that Earn Your Leisure podcast, I was saying to Tawana and the rest of the officers, we need to have infrastructure and support so that when people are getting funding, they actually get what they need. Social media assistance, marketing assistance, branding assistance, legal assistance, getting on the shelves of Walmart and Target and Best Buy. Whatever assistance they need in order to make it, we all make it, and we all do well, and we all profit when we as a community of 10,000, 25,000, 100,000 people lifts up and supports that business.
Oh, that's a great point. And there's so many professionals in the Black community that do all of those things, but there's not one place to find them. I mean, you search around, you get referrals. If you're lucky, someone will, name someone who happens to be Black, and that's always great. I always love that. But sometimes they're not. And it doesn't mean that the other cultures don't do a great job. That's not what this is about by any means. This is everything about us doing for ourselves, right? It's not to knock anyone else. It's not to discourage others from other communities helping us, get lifted as well. Those things are welcomed. But we have an obligation to this community to do our part and to help the generations that come after us. Cherie, Kamari's asking for the business model. You want to summarize and kind of start from the beginning on what it is we're offering?
Sure. So our business model is very simple. There are 2 groups of people that we're bringing together. The first group are the entrepreneurs. These are people that are looking for capital, and they want to use equity crowdfunding based on the Jobs Act of 2012 as a source of capital. Just like somebody would go to the bank, they would go to another investor, venture capitalist, they would use their credit cards. This is another way for companies to get funding. And they can raise up to $1,070,000 right now. The SEC is looking at raising that to $5 million, but right now it's $1,070,000. I've been saying for 2 years to Tawana and the rest of the officers, and actually this group that we belong to called Black Blockchain Consultants, I've been saying, if 10,000 of us got together and we each put in $100, that's $1 million altogether. We could start funding our own businesses. And I was saying that for 2 years and saying it. And I would see other people mentioning our businesses aren't getting funded. What are we going to do about it? And finally, the 4 people, Tawana and the other 3, Talisha Shine, Dr. Keisha Waddell, and Eric Spence, looked at me in a meeting one day and said, well, why aren't you doing something about it? And I said to them, because I need help. I don't want to do this by myself. So they all agreed to assist. So going back to the business model is we get 10,000 or more Black, well, it just be investors. We don't all have to be Black investors, but investors who want to fund Black-owned businesses. So once a week, there will be a Shark Tank style pitch, and we will have an entrepreneur of the week come to present their business to us. And why would we do it like that versus a traditional equity crowdfunding platform, which just has all sorts of businesses on there? We want to highlight a business so that we can give as much focus and attention and all of our talents, you know, and if we choose our money to a business of the week, versus having it spread out amongst a bunch of businesses. So once a week, business comes, they do a Shark Tank style pitch. The entrepreneur will talk about their business. They will talk about, you know, how big the market is for their business. If you've ever seen a Shark Tank pitch, how big the market is, where they are in development. Do they already have a product? Are they already making sales? What are they going to do with the money? How much do they need? You know, are they looking to raise money in different, it's called tranches, but it's like installments. Like for some companies, they will need $50,000 to complete their generation one of their product. Then they're going to go out and market it. And then once that's successful, they want another $300,000 in order to hire additional people and really get out there. So all of those things are going to be discussed during the pitch of the week. You will also have the opportunity, because this is by SEC law, these companies have to provide all of you with additional documentation about their business. So you're able to take your time and look through their documentation and decide if you want to invest in that company. If you do, we have a platform that was built by a former SEC employee, and you will be able to say, I want to invest in Tawana Inc., for example. I want to invest in Tawana Inc. I like her so much, I'm going to put $150 into her company. So when we have, you know, for example, 10,000 people put in $100 each, that's $1 million. You may have some people who put in more money, some people, well, you can't put in less than 100. You may have some people who choose not to invest in Tawana Inc. for whatever reason, etc. But then we're able to, after that, that entrepreneur receives all types of resources and assistance based on what they need. So they would have told us what they need in the pitch. I need legal services. I need money to finish my patent. I need, you know, someone who's really good with social media, et cetera, et cetera. And they are going to come back to the community and say, this is what we need. And we're going to be able to assist those businesses in getting to profitability. Then what happens is you've already put your money in. Let's say I put my $100 into Tawana Inc. How do I get my money back? It's from something called a liquidity event. All liquidity event means is how I get my money back, right? In plain terms. There are three major ways that a company has a liquidity event. The first is one that you always hear about. They do something called an initial public offering, meaning that they put themselves on the stock market and your shares are all of a sudden on the stock market and you're able to cash out that way because they're on the New York Stock Exchange or NASDAQ or something like that. The second you will often hear about as well is the person sells the business. So they could sell it to a big conglomerate, they could sell it to a private equity firm, etc. The third way that you could get your money back is the person makes enough revenue that they start giving us a piece of the profits from their business. So they don't want to sell, they don't want to go public, but they say, you know what, you supported me back when, therefore I'm going to give a certain percentage of my profits back to my investors. So those are the three major ways. The fourth final way is we are also going to be working on a secondary market where you will be able to sell those private shares amongst the community, but I will admit that's going to be a few years off. So you don't expect that right away, but Eric Spence is our guy who is going to be heading that up as a project. So did I explain everything clearly, Tawana? If I didn't, please, let me know in the comments as well, because we want to.
So talk about the education we want to do for the investors. So Kamari brought up that's something he'd be interested in helping with. So I did take his information. I'm going to give him a call when we're done. Talk about what we want to do from an investor education standpoint.
Fantastic. Okay, so first of all, any help that people want to give with investor education is gladly appreciated. So with investor education, so first of all, I should have introduced myself in terms of I have been a business plan writer for the past decade. I have helped companies raise capital and have written business plans to help companies raise capital, and have been in plenty of investor meetings with entrepreneurs who have gotten capital and entrepreneurs who have not, okay? So with our investor education, we are going to talk about how you evaluate a company. And I will say this, not every company that is presented is a good investment for you. So when you're evaluating a company, and when the average investor is evaluating a company, they use certain types of metrics or decision points. Some of the decision points are personal. Do I like this type of company? Do I understand this type of company? Do I feel comfortable with this type of company? So I'll give you a great example. There are certain industries that I will not invest in for moral reasons or for very personal reasons. And you may feel the same way. So you'll have, personal attributes that you're looking for. You'll also have the decision of, do I have the $100 in order to put in at this time? Or am I saving towards my emergency fund or some other financial obligation that I have? And then the second portion of that is the strength of the business itself. If a business is already making money, then we judge the business a little bit differently, probably moderately differently, than if the business is brand spanking new, doesn't have a product, is just an engineer who drew something. But the investors that I've worked with look at the team first. So who's on the team? Who's the entrepreneur, and who are they surrounded with? It's even more important than the product itself. So they do look at the product or service that they're offering. If they're offering a service, is it something that is called scalable? Meaning if we added $10 million worth of business this year to this service business, could the service business actually keep up with the demand? Right? So those are some of the things that we use as decision points of whether or not we invest in something. Investors will look at the financials and the strength of the financials. Does the entrepreneur know their numbers? The competition. Is there something already out there that's doing something similar? What is the competitive advantage of this business or this entrepreneur? And this business, this product, or this entrepreneur. One of the things I teach within business plan writing is a lot of times the competitive advantage is not necessarily the product, but it's the team, or it's somebody that you know, or you already have a contract at Walmart or something like that. So it may not necessarily be the product. So those are the types of things that we teach within investor education. And we're going to have a list of things that you're going to look at every time you consider an investment. And we're going to teach you how to look at it. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I just want to add also, you know, the goal with the education for the investor is really to create a savvy investor, because we're going to have people at all ends of the spectrum, right? I can talk about myself. You know, I was a late investor and I had the resources to do it, but I was so intimidated by just the stock market and how it all worked. And it took me a long time to just kind of jump in outside of a 401k, to jump in and just take that, you know, start to learn a little bit more. And I can tell you that, you know, for me, it's important that we talk to people that join this network from an investment standpoint. We talk to them at the different stages that they're at. You know, we always say meet people where they are, because some people are just going to be watching us. They may not even have that $100 available as disposable income to invest yet, but they're going to be watching and they might save. They may be holding on, looking for the perfect thing that they could connect with, right? That deal that speaks to them. And the whole time we're engaging them, we should be teaching them, right? Even if they're not investing for that deal, they should walk away from the experience having learned something. And, you know, it's important for me that we do that, because I know where I was, you know, 20 years ago, not knowing what a stock was from a bond, right? Not knowing just the basic differences and things. And so I love that Kamari asked that question and that he's willing to assist with that, because we definitely want skilled professionals to come in and help us pull that education piece together, because that's critical. You know, when we talk about us owning equity in these businesses, there's also financial education we have to teach the investors, because now we will be owners of assets. What do we do with those assets when we come time to cash them out, right? You know, what do we do with it? Many of us don't know what it's like to have a lot of money. So if we invest in one of these businesses that, you know, blows up, what's it going to be like now to be a millionaire after not being one? What do I do? What do I do first? You know? And so those are the kind of things we want to do within the community to help lift it up, right? We want to leave people better than they were when we met them. That's the goal. That's always the goal. And so super excited about that.
Yeah, we also want to educate people on knowing that you will have losses. It is inevitable. You will have losses. If you come to this platform putting in money that you will need next month for rent, mortgage, you know, diaper money, anything like that, this is the wrong place for you. As Tawana has said, come get the investor education. You'll also not only have investor education, but you will take that information and flip it. And if you want to be an entrepreneur, you can take all of that information, flip it, and say, okay, this is what I need to do to become the best entrepreneur out there, you know, and make more money, you know, leave my 9-to-5 and start something full-time, etc. But I do want people to know that these are long-term investments.
Right.
Investors know right now they're looking at 7 to 10 years in every single project. So you're asking yourself, with that $100, can I live without this for 7 to 10 years? If the answer is no, then this is not the right time for you to put money in. Now, I personally am using my money that I use to go out and eat with friends. You know, I buy the pair of shoes that I don't need, things like that. Like true disposable income. Whereas, you know, I'm not looking for it next week, because if I had gone to the Cheesecake Factory, I can't call the Cheesecake Factory and ask for my money back. So I'm gonna ask you, I'm beg you, please don't call me asking for your money back unless you're calling the Cheesecake Factory asking them. Okay? Please don't. I got to keep it real. I got to keep it real with my people. Y'all know I love you. I love you. However, please don't do that. We need to be responsible. I'd rather you, just come, look, say, wow, that was really great. I'm so inspired. I learned so much. I can't do it. I would much, I would have so much respect for you. The other thing that I will say is this is going to be kid-friendly environments. Therefore, the best thing that you can do is bring your kids, your grandkids, your nieces and nephews to the weekly pitches as well. They're going to be introduced to careers, to opportunities, to industries, to entrepreneurs that look like them, doing things that they never imagined. So when I saw Hidden Figures, for example, I'm like, wow, I didn't know that existed. I think all of us have had some movie or some conversation where you're like, I didn't know that existed. I get phone calls as a business plan writer where I'm like, that's an industry? And I start writing the business plan and I'm like, wow, there's a lot of money in here. There are going to be intangible, non-monetary benefits that come from this community. And there are probably non-monetary benefits that I don't even know about yet. But I will say this, when your kids light up from seeing something and saying, oh, I don't have to be a rapper in order to be successful, or, a basketball player, not that there's anything wrong with those professions, but we want to get more.
Yeah,
there are other options. We can get our kids into math, into technology, into coding, into science, and they're able to see people that look like them that are doing cool things in the world. And they get to say, Mom, Dad, can I put my $100 on that? I want to follow that entrepreneur and what they're doing. And by law, that entrepreneur will give updates as well. If you are part of that investment, they'll send newsletter updates, and there's just going to be a lot that's happening here and a lot of benefits overall. So
we've got a few comments, Sheree.
Sure.
So it looks like Kamari said, will there be prerequisites that companies presented to the group have to meet?
Yes.
So absolutely is the answer to that question. Absolutely. And I'll tell you why it's also so important to help us with the survey, because that's going to also help us know what the entrepreneur and the investor needs, right? So that's what the survey is going to allow us to be able to make sure that we've thought this through from the perspective of our partners and make sure we didn't miss anything. But there are absolutely prerequisites. The whole goal is to have a profitable company, right? So they have to have something that proves that,
Yes.
Previous sales, they've got to have a product that, to MVP. So we need to see something, and we'll map out a clear list of prerequisites. We do understand that people at different stages of their business development also need help, right? So we don't want that person who does just have, the sketch of the brilliant idea, right? We don't want to necessarily exclude that person, but maybe they need to get a little more business development assistance, right, before they're ready for the pitch of the week. That's when they come into the network and they get the training and development they need to get to that next level where they're ready to actually talk to us, right, the general public. But the whole point is building up the community, right? So it's never about saying you're denied, you can't do this, you can't come on our platform like other crowdfunding platforms do, right? People get denied because maybe they don't have enough money to come on the platform. Or
they didn't have enough people.
They don't have enough community members, right? So they don't have that 20,000 followers. So how do I know you're going to sell, right? Because I'm a crowdfunding platform. I can't do all your marketing. How are you going to market yourself? So these are all the things that are real out in that industry. But what we want success more than anything else. We want that company to be able to develop and grow and scale. And we want that for them, even if they don't pitch to us, right? just using the network and knowing that that's another Black business out there that's getting ready to thrive, even if they don't use the crowdfunding platform, the networking of the professionals is something completely separate. It's part of the model, but it is a separate arm. Yeah. And so, they can still benefit from that.
Yeah. I want to, before you go to the rest of the questions, I want to just make sure I share this again. We need your help, please. These are the 3 things that we need. Number 1 is we have a survey at bit.ly/Black 10K project. We need another 50 people to respond to the survey. So if you can tonight, actually, now as you're listening to this, if you would please respond to the survey, there's no obligation, there's no cost. Please just respond to the survey so that we can make sure we're giving you what you want from this community. The second is, if you're not a part of our Facebook group, Black 10K Project, please join our Facebook group, because we're going to have a lot of information that's shared in there. And the third thing, if you know of somebody who you say, this friend would really like to be a part of this, we're asking that you please invite somebody, because we want to see the numbers grow week over week. Right now, for the month of April, we're doing a soft launch. So that's why you don't see thousands of people in here. However, the thousands are coming. Right now, we just want to take the survey and we just want to get the temperature of early adopters. So again, bit.ly/Black 10K project. So Tawana, I know we got more questions. Let's hear them.
Okay. Oh, Dr. Keisha, thank you for putting the link in the chat. Dr. Keisha is also one of the officers. She's not with us on screen today, but she's helping us out in the Facebook chat. So thank you, Dr. Keisha, for that.
Thank you.
Let's see. Oh, Kamari says proof of concept versus no concept. So just a comment. And then, so the investor will have to understand lockup periods. Yep.
Yes.
Kamari, stop giving away all the gems. I'm going to call you later. I'm gonna reach out. I promise. He said so. No early stage investments. Yeah, they got.
It's possible. Okay, so I wanna address this because I did see this question. It is possible for an early stage company to get funded. They may not get $1 million. Most projects should be able to, even if it's like a technology platform or something like that. I've had people call me in my business plan business and say, I just need 50K in order to finish this. I'm 75% done, but I need another 50K. In those instances, we may look at a company like that and see what they already have within their beta product, and bring them on, because a lot of times our businesses are 2, inches away from success. So it will depend. I'm not going to say absolutely no early stage startups. If you have absolutely nothing, I'm a little more leery. It will depend on what we get through the door. But the reason why we want you to have some skin in the game is because we know that entrepreneurs that have some money out there and some skin in the game are going to be more likely to perform. So if you already have your $100,000 from your home equity line of credit on the table, it does make a difference. It does make a difference. So.
Right. Guys, have any more questions?
Gina, thank you so much for doing the survey. Gina Malik said she did the survey. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Really
appreciate it. Kamari saying, now you know that how none of that works. I guess he was referring to the don't put your last dollar in.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just gonna say we're not answering the phone for that.
Well, I will say this: the SEC does have a rule that while the campaign's going, there's a certain time period that people have to change their mind, right?
Yes, that's true.
If you're within that time frame, you absolutely can cancel your purchase of that deal. But after that, we're not answering the phone for refund calls, because that's not how it works.
Yeah. So a final thing that I will say is we're also going to have a couple of a couple of focus groups as well, with about 10 people each in them. We're going to have focus groups for investors and focus groups for entrepreneurs. So Gina, Kamari, others that are in here, Caressa, if you all, oh, Chris Patton Walker's here. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Chris.
Um,
CP's
if,
up in the house.
yes. So see, we're international now. Um, if you know of any micro investors that you think would be great for our focus groups, or any entrepreneurs that are raising capital in the next 2 years, preferably, that would be great for our focus groups, or entrepreneurs that have raised money that just want to be in our focus groups. They're going to be an hour long. And it's just for us to have deeper understandings of what the platform needs. So you can email me at info@the10kproject.com, info@the10kproject.com. Let me know that you're interested in that. We have Talisha, who is heading all of that up for us. So with that, do we have any other questions or comments? We will be here every Monday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the foreseeable future, answering questions, getting people excited about this. So, yeah.
Continue to share this video. Please share the link so people can complete the survey. At the end of the survey is how you also get into the Facebook group. We want to build that community so that we can, continue and really start and then continue to do the education piece. So we're super excited for this. And I just want to thank Cherie for, anyone who follows Cherie over the last few years knows that she always drops these wonderful gems on us, right? And she's such a wonderful, creative, innovative thinker. And so thank you for trusting us to help you with this project, because I really think it will transform this community. And I think it'll do something wonderful. I shared with you the other day that when I think about what this can do for our children's children, I think it will absolutely make a world of difference. And so thank you for always being such a wonderful, innovative thinker and thought leader, and then sharing that with us, right? Because you could keep all these brilliant ideas to yourself, but you share them. And then that allows us to say, wait a minute, go back to that one. Let's talk about that one again. And that's what happened here. So thank you.
Well, and you're my yang to my yin, or however you say it. So Tawana's being modest here. So here's the deal with our group. I'm the visionary with the wild ideas, and Tawana is the operations process person. She's the one that says, okay, well, Sharif, you want to go to A, B, C, you want to go to A to Z, I need to know B, C, D, E, F, G. And the reason that this works is because you have the two of us kind of on the polar opposite ends. And then you have Talisha, who is the technical lead, and she's really great. Then you have Dr. Keisha, who is the education person, and she knows how to do all the social media stuff and things like that. And then Eric Spence ties it up with the pretty little bow. He'll be quiet, he'll be listening, and then all of a sudden he'll say the one thing that all of us are like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you're right.
So I couldn't have asked.
He loves his community.
He does. We all do. And I believe in the power of our community. I have been in plenty a room with high-level Black people who are doing amazing things for each other. And the whole adage of it's not what you know, it's who you know. I'm going to say it's not what you know, it's not who you know, it's who knows you, and what can they do, and what can we do together. This ain't World Star Hip Hop. This is not like any of that stuff. Not that I won't be messy every once in a while. I don't go to World Star Hip Hop, but I will listen to, what's happening. But this is a place for business. And there are so many communities now of us buying real estate together, trucking companies. I'm part of a group now, a Black group, where we're starting to talk about buying businesses during the recession. There's so much opportunity out there, and our people are stepping up. We really, really are. Gone are the days where, for the most of us, where, you know, we were looking for the big car and the biggest house and all of that. A lot of us are now looking for investments and looking for things that are going to set up our families for generations. And this, I believe, is going to be one of those critical moments in history where we say, you know what, we did that. We changed the course of history with the Black 10K project. So I want to thank everyone for being here tonight. Again, Mondays, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be in the building for the foreseeable future. Again, if you would complete our survey at bit.ly/Black 10K project. We need another 50 people to do that over the next week to 10 days so that we can take that information and build the best community possible. Please don't forget to join our Facebook group, and please tell a friend, because next week we want to have twice as many people on the live, and we want to have all of our surveys completed. So Rashawn, Tamara, Dr. Keisha, Chris, Martin Johnson, Caressa, Gina, Kamari, you know, if I've forgotten you, Crystal, you know, if I've forgotten you, charge it to my head, not my heart. Rasana, I'm just going through the names of people that have come in and out. Erlene, thank you so much. Maurice, thank you to all of you for being a part of our community. And please, please, please share this message, and, you know, have a blessed day. We really, we know that we're on the verge of something big, and we need your help in order to make it happen.
And so, everyone stay safe. Stay safe
yes.
during these very difficult times. Stay safe, be responsible. But
yes.
thank you for joining us tonight.
Absolutely. God bless you. Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.